Now, how much are you seeing HOA condo associations pay towards short sales, and how can we get them to agree to the amount a lender will give them?
How I work in the state of Florida, if the property goes into foreclosure, the lender will have to pay the associations, both condo and homeowners association, 1 year of past due. So a lot of the negotiators are in different states. So if the negotiator does not want to pay a minimum of 1 year, we send them the state law to show them if they do go into foreclosure, they're going to have to pay it anyway, so why wouldn't they pay it in a short sale? One thing we do is we do try to talk to associations to see if we can bring down the price, or the outstanding debt, shall I say. Sometimes they'll work with us, sometimes they won't. They are getting harder. So a lot of the times we're having to bring an attorney in to just talk to them, and a lot of the time that's actually, if they're talking to the homeowners association attorneys, we're finding that works a lot. But they're very challenging, especially if you have 2 or 3 years outstanding. A lot of the time we're asking the buyer to bring, money for the homeowners association. But that definitely has to be disclosed on the HUD. So there's a lot of different options, but it's just things that you need to think about up front of possible problems while doing the short sale.
Now, 1099-C. Can a lender come after you if they issue a 1099-C?
A 1099-C is a cancellation of debt, and attorneys and everyone, there's a lot of talk on the town of exactly if you are issued a 1099-C as the borrower, if they can then come back to you for deficiency judgment later. Not all lenders are going to issue borrowers 1099-Cs after the short sale has been completed, but many will. And if a 1099-C is sent to you as the borrower, basically what a lot of attorneys are saying is that they should not be able to go back to you. However, if they do try to come back, that is definitely a good case for an attorney, because they look at it as they can't come back to you twice. And when you're issued a 1099-C, the lender is writing off the loan, and then they're coming back to you to collect the difference. So that's a tough question, but they shouldn't be able to do it.
Now, if the first isn't a short sale, can I still apply for half?
If the first isn't a short sale, you actually don't even need to submit anything to them, because they will be paid off at closing. And yes, as long as the second participates in the half a short sale program, it shouldn't be a problem at all.
Do trustees need to approve the short sale prior to the property in a Chapter 13?
Do not be scared about a bankruptcy in a Chapter 13, because you can do a short sale after or even during a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. What you do have to do is, after the bankruptcy is completed, it does have to be released from the bankruptcy. The property does have to be released to be able to close on the short sale. Usually what happens is the seller is going to have to pay for the release of the bankruptcy, which can cost, $500 maybe to $1,000 to get an attorney to release it, and then you can close on the short sale. But it definitely has to be released from the bankruptcy, the property does, before you can complete a short sale.
What are you typically seeing the seconds do in a short sale, and how much do they want from the first to approve the short sale?
A couple of years ago, short sales changed month to month, so you really have to stay up to date on them. A couple of years ago, the seconds were accepting $1,000 to $3,000, where today a lot of them want much more. Some want $5,000 or $10,000. A lot of them want the seller or borrower to, give them more money. So it really depends on each lender or investor, and they all want different amounts. So that's also something you have to tackle, and it's challenging, and you just have to look at each situation. Sometimes the buyer will actually have to come up on their purchase price so that we can clear the second, all sorts of different stuff. But make sure whatever you're doing and whatever money you're giving to the second, again, all needs to be on the HUD. You cannot give any money outside of the HUD to the second.
Should you try and help every seller trying to do a short sale? If not, what should be the determining factors?
Unfortunately, we can't help every seller in a short sale, especially if you have a sale date, which is the foreclosure date coming up in the next couple weeks. Sometimes there's so many liens on the property. There's so many different situations that you unfortunately can't help them. If there's more than 2 mortgages, you can try, but it just gets more and more challenging. An IRS lien. What I do is, you know, I evaluate every situation, and if it has 2 loans on the property that in an IRS lien, I'll definitely do something like that as long as I have enough time to do the short sale. So, and the other thing that's extremely important is that the seller or borrower is very cooperative. So that makes a big difference. You have timelines that you have to meet, and if they aren't giving you the information or they aren't giving you the paperwork that's needed, the file will be closed, you'll keep losing buyers, etc. So I evaluate every situation, but unfortunately we cannot help every single buyer or every single seller.
Explain how IRS liens need to be handled when a short sale is concerned.
That should be a question on your questionnaire up front for the borrower, is if they have an IRS lien. If they do, you need to start that up front. You need to start it right away before you get an offer, as soon as, you know, even before you list it if you can. There are forms on the IRS website, or you can call the IRS. The IRS lien follows the borrower and not the home. So they can release the home so that you can actually close on the short sale, and then the borrower will pay off the IRS later. So the big key here is to make sure you know about it and to work on it up front.
What are the best ways you find to keep the buyer engaged in the short sale process?
That's a great question. It's a very, very important that you do that. One thing you want to do is you want to have a great relationship with the buyer's agent and communication. I explained to the buyer's agent up front that I definitely need 90 days to negotiate the short sale. I also get either between $2,000 and $5,000 in escrow up front, and then 30 days to 45 days to close on the short sale. I also let them know that this is just an offer and that the lender can come back and they can counteroffer. The buyer might have to, you know, come up on their purchase price so that we can pay off homeowner associations, or that we can pay off other things that maybe the lender will not allow. So, the one thing I do is I really try to get within 5 to 10% of market value as well. If we all work together, these do close. I close over 95% of my short sales, but it's because of the communication that we have and the upfront with the buyers to make sure that they are staying involved in the short sale process. The other thing you have to remember, if you're an agent, that everything that you email to another agent, they're going to copy and paste it and put it in and send it to their buyer. So the big thing is the communication and letting the buyer know exactly what's going on, and up front letting them know what's going to happen through the process.